Welcome back to Court Farm for episode 2 with me, MrSealyp. It's 11:44. We have finished our harvesting. It's been an interesting couple of days, I'm not going to lie. People will be glad to hear, maybe glad to hear, my Ethernet cable, exterior Ethernet cable has been run. I say has been run, I ran it, I didn't get someone to out to the man cave. People have been asking how did I get on this week. I don't know if I mentioned in the last episode or not, but we had high temperatures last week, up in the 30s, and it was just ridiculously hot, and I thought I'm not going to go out there and run all the cables and do everything I've got to do, drilling holes and all sorts of stuff I've got to do. Then the temperature dropped and it poured with rain. We had thunderstorms and all sorts of stuff, and then middle to the end of the week it was busy with mods and maps and all sorts of stuff, and I didn't get to it. Yeah, yesterday I had my kids were all coming over. I didn't realise they were all coming over. It was one of those kind of nice surprise type situations, and I thought, you know what, I'll get the map tour done that came out Friday. Actually, I'll take this up to the top of the hill, and then when we unload the trailer we can bring it straight back. And yeah, my twin daughters and my eldest had gone out for the day. They were going to come back to the house and they were going to sit on the deck, weather was going to be nice, you know. And two of the boyfriends were supposed to be coming, and you know, all very nice. But I was running the cable, and it took a lot longer. It was very strange. People don't need to know this, but anyway, it was very strange. I say it was very strange. It probably isn't if you work in this industry. But the cable itself, I bought 75 meters, which was way too, as it turned out, way too much. But I thought I needed to make sure I had plenty. I didn't want to start running the cable and find I was like 3 meters short or something really stupid, you know. But it was. I don't know if I can really refer to it. It was double wound, in that it was wound one way from one side and one way from the other, but almost contra-rotating. So the problem was I needed to take one end out, cut the cat cable off, the cat 6 cable, a clip off of it, so I could put a hole in the, in the wall and feed it through and put it into the man cable, that kind of stuff. But so when I pulled the cable out from one side, it was wound one way, and then from the other end I had to pull the cable out because that was going to be going through and into the man cave, and that was wound the other way. So the problem was it kept coiling back on itself, but twisting. Oh, it was an absolute nightmare. I ended up having to drag the whole 75 metres out. I haven't got a particularly long garden, up and down the garden, so I could straighten it out as best I could. So yeah, it took a while. So anyway, they all came over, and my son wasn't working, he came over. So all my kids were here, and as it turned out, only one of the boyfriends came. The other one is a mad football supporter, and he was at the football yesterday and decided after the game, Watford, just around the corner from where I live, Watford FC, Glory Hornet boys, they scored, was it 2 goals or one in the 90th minute? I think they were losing 1-0 and they won 2-1 or something. So anyway, he decided he was going to stay out. Yeah, like I say, you don't need to know this, but this is what I always used to. I'd just be on doing farming and chatting about what's going on in my life and weird and wonderful stuff. Anyway, so yeah, it turned into, they were all sitting around all chatting. It started to rain a little bit, so they all came indoors, and it was a lovely evening. I can't remember, it's been a while since we were all together. I think, trying to think, were we all together for my birthday? We certainly were for MrSealyp's birthday in April, but it's difficult to get all of us together because people work and shift work and stuff like that. But no, it was lovely. It was a really nice evening. I've lost where I was going with the rest of that, but anyway, just to say that the cable is run, and then earlier in the day, before I think I just started running the cable, I got a message from the boss. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Genuinely got a message from the boss. And I went upstairs and I was talking to MrSealyp, and then my phone rang. And it was Kaleb on the phone, out in the field, spreading compost. Gave me a ring. I haven't been fired yet, which is good. I was so worried. I thought, I'm going to get all sorts of stuff wrong. But anyway, he's compiled a list. Some instructions, some do's and don'ts. What I found fascinating, and am finding fascinating, always learning. I've always said that. I love the fact that people will send me stuff or chat to me, and farming especially, I love learning about practices. And what I'm finding fascinating is different terminology for different things that in game you kind of get used to, what things are called and how you use them, that sort of stuff. And then someone will say something you think, I've never heard of that before, I don't know what that is, you know. Obviously depending where in the world you are and how you farm, and even within the country. I know when we talk, I've said this before, when we talk about spreading fertiliser, and then you talk about tillage, so you got vertical tillage, you might do no-till, you might do whatever, but watching Tom Pemberton, they refer to fertiliser as till. If they're going to put till on the ground, fertiliser. Every time we kept saying we're going to put till on the ground, I was thinking, but they're not doing tillage, I don't know. Yeah, so you get different terms. So it's all about terminology. It's all about different things. So like I say, always learning. So Kaleb messaged me, sent me some feedback, and there was a couple of things I didn't know what it meant. I didn't have a clue. So I messaged back and said, look, you're going to have to help me out here, because I really don't know. Have we got a jet washer on the farm? I'm trying to remember. Was there one somewhere? I'm going to get the harvester off the field. Am I going to put the harvester back in the shed? Should do, really. But anyway, I'm going to put it up on the screen now. We have got, well, you'll see actually after the back, off the back of this message, you'll see there was a lot more message, and there's a couple of bits I've chopped out. Again, no information that will get passed on anywhere. But so it says, let's just park this up. It says, well, watching your Let's Play. Now, if you watch Clarkson's farm, you'll understand some of this and why. 1. If you buy a Lamborghini tractor, you are fired. And I messaged back straight away and said, well, you know, in essence, it's good that I haven't been fired already. I mean, I made an absolute hash of getting that harvester out of the barn. And there's a couple of things he's put in here, and I thought, you know, yeah, I suppose if you were new and inexperienced and you made a mistake, you could get fired. Actually, is this the silage clamp? Oh, that's over here, isn't it? I thought... This is weird. I'm on... Court Farm... Why is that not coming up with information for compacting and whatnot? Court Farm cows? Have I got my thing turned off? Let me just double check that. Put that on a second. Oh yeah, it just didn't say. It's a top left, yeah. Fill level on compacting. We're going to need the sides clamp at some point. Anyway, so yeah, that was one. If you buy a Lamborghini tractor, you are fired. Sorry, I've left up on the screen, haven't I? Now, this was a weird one because I suppose because it's new, sometimes on maps you do get that situation where you've got farm equipment and machinery that does require maintenance, and I didn't check, did I? And I had that thing with the header. So number 2, I didn't check to see if my equipment needed any maintenance before I started the job in hand. Preventative maintenance, ongoing maintenance. It's, you know, so this is all stuff. This is the nitty gritty. This is, like I said, you got big farming. Look at it on a big, you know, wide open scale. When I was teaching, it was all about, you taught the kids, you were either in a helicopter looking over and above and you could do an overview of something, or right in with a microscope and get down into the nitty gritty of something. There was more for like when you were teaching to write and kids were learning that kind of thing. So, you know, when you play the game a lot, it's that overview. You're playing the game, you're doing a harvest, you're moving here, you're taking this, you're taking that. You're, like I said in the last episode, we get very much into bam, 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 bam. Let's move to this, big machinery, cool equipment. Let's try out this. This is new. This is whiz banging. This is fantastic. But when you start really sort of drilling down into what actually happens with farming, with what actual farmers do, and it's a lot of stuff, like I said in the last episode, about having the breakdowns and things like that. stuff that you kind of skip over. You know, I can walk out to every machine at the start of every episode. I can look over it. I did it on one series a while back when I was doing preventive maintenance. I went around, so I'm greasing all the grease circs, I'm doing all this stuff, you know, doing a bit of, and people are like, why are you even bothering? There's no point. Well, no, in game there's not any point, but in reality there would be. And if you're kind of simulating, trying to do it a bit more realistically, you kind of, well, we got into this field all right. You just kind of, you know, you do those things. So anyway, yeah, I didn't check the machinery and equipment, so I've got to make sure I do that. And it's what I mean, always learning. It's that thing of, yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's things you kind of skip over, like again in game, when you can avoid doing things sometimes. You just think, it doesn't matter, it's alright. You don't have to do it in game. The same as like seedbed preparation and stuff like that. You can plant directly onto a ploughed field. Would you plant directly onto a ploughed field in real life? No, of course you wouldn't. There's just no way. You would prepare that seedbed better. It would have to be prepared better. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff like that. Number 3, sheep are banned at all times. I won't be doing sheep. After Jeremy Clarkson bought sheep, I know, I think they did, was it Farmers Weekly? They went out and they did like an interview thing on Farmers Weekly, and one of the things they said, and Kaleb hates the sheep, just did not, I say hates the sheep, it didn't like doing them, yeah. So yeah, no sheep, we won't be doing sheep. That's all good, because we've got other things we can do. I was trying and find the safe about a jet wash, wasn't I? I can't remember. I could have sorted out one. Anyway, I'm going to make sure when I edit this that I put the thing up in the top corner so you can still see what I'm doing. So, number 4, KCC is buying the straw in the row off Court Farms, and we're going to sell it. So that was the first thing. I don't know. Buying straw off the row, on the row. I don't know what that means. So that was one of the things I messaged back. So I'm not sure what that is. And in essence, all that means is, and I've done it on Let's Plays before, where I've said, you know, and people do that, oh, you shouldn't really do that. It happens in real life. If you do contract work for somebody, like when I've done other contracts and I use that forage pickup to pick up the straw off the field, it's that kind of concept. But buying it in the row is this. So the farmer's doing his harvest, or you might be contracted to do the harvest, I don't know, whichever way around it is. And the farmer might be leaving the swath behind, the swath's on the ground, but he doesn't necessarily want it. So you come along and you buy the swath in the row. So as it sits on the ground, you're buying it from him. You arrange a price. Now, Kaleb said you arrange the price because he would come and bale it, and then he will sell the bales. It says we're going to sell it. And I've been instructed we're going to be baling it. So we're going to be doing that next. So you agree a price per bale. So you've bought it as it sits on the ground, sold as seen. And then what happens is, like you said, you will get the farmer will do his harvest, and he will literally get on the phone and say, right, come and sort it out. Come and get it off the ground, get it baled, get rid, because I need to now get on with my next prep. I need to either plough the field, cultivate it, whatever they're going to do, spread whatever, muck, compost, whatever they're going to put on it. You need to get this straw off ASAP because I need to get in the field and get working. And he said you might have a couple of days. You might literally say, look, you've got 3 days and then I'm going to be in the field. Then you've got to factor in, what if the weather turns? What if it pours with rain? What if you can't get in the field when you were hoping you were going to? Actually, we'll try and go up here. We should be right. Again, all those kinds of things I'd never really considered. I hadn't really thought of before because, you know, yes, you kind of simulate, oh, I'm contracting on this farm, but I'm not a contractor. I don't know how that really actually works in real life. So I'm getting a whole new perspective on how contracting works within farming. I you know, you kind of have a rough idea maybe, but you don't know for definite. 5. KCC is making the silage for Court Farms with a forage box. So we will be doing the silage work for Court Farm. That's what I was saying about the silage plant being just there. I wasn't sure where it was. I had no idea what a forage box was. So again, I messaged and said, forage box? Question mark. A forage box is a forage wagon, basically. So he messaged me back, and actually it was when we spoke on the phone as well, but when he messaged me back, he said, we will be using a forage wagon to pick the grass off the ground and take it to the silage clamp. So, yeah, we will be doing that. Obviously, we've got to mow the ground first. We've got to mow it, we've got to windrow it, we've got to collect it, we've got to bring it to the silage clamp, we've got to silage clamp it, compact it, cover it, which will be happening in another episode. 6. We need to start from fresh and plough all the fields on Court Farms. So, here's where we get into some more. So, we've got to do some prep work on this. I'm just looking to my right and realise I haven't got all the message. Yeah, so we've got this field here, and if we go to the overview, Court Farm has field 40, which is a grass field, which we'll be cutting, and I think we might be doing this field at the front here for the silage clamp. 56 we're working on, and then 57, which is this one here. And that's been cultivated. But we've got to start from fresh, and we've got to plough them. Because I'm pretty sure if we go across, it does say it needs ploughing. Yeah. So we are going to be starting fresh. I have my instruction. Also in the message, I've got to find it now. Further down the message, it says it was explaining about what buying straw in the row meant and that kind of thing. So it said, alright, so Court Farm wants to plant oilseed rape as soon as possible. And Kaleb mentioned flea beetle. So what they want to do is turn the field, get it sorted, get it ploughed, prepped, get oilseed rape in as soon as we can, canola. As soon as we can, I think because of the time of year and getting it in, it reduces the risk of flea beetle, and so that's what we've got to do. So we've got a bale. Now I'm going to get the bales off the field and move them to one side. We're going to be using, we have been sent some equipment by KCC to try, or to use. It's part of their inventory, but we are going to be using the Court Farm telehandler to get the bales off the field, stack them. We might just put them to the side. This isn't a silage clamp, is it? Manure heap? Might be an old manure heap. Again, let's just try that. I suppose we could stack them in here out of the way, off the field for the time being. I'm just thinking that's not a sell point or something. We're going to lose everything. That'd be a bit embarrassing. And then we can come and collect those, and we'll get them put onto a lorry, and we'll get them sent off and sold. So, what I'm going to be doing, we need to go. I know, sorry, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the fact we're playing and chatting and farming. You know, it's what I enjoy doing, and it's what I need to get back to. So we're going to whiz up to back to Myrtle Farm Holidays, but they couldn't fit the machinery and equipment in there, and it would have been a bit unfair to put the machinery on their driveway. So opposite where the windmill is, we've had some equipment dropped off. I'm going to try. Trouble is, because I've done a few map tours over the last week, I'm misremembering now, and I'm thinking, I'm sure there was a jet wash here, but I think it might have been one of the other maps had jet washes in all of the yards. So we'll have to clean that equipment off. But anyway, so all that being said, there was another one a bit further down. I won't read number 8. I'll chop that out because that's a secret. But number 9, Kaleb has got 100 beef cattle that he wants reared, and I think we're going to be doing it here at Court. So we have to sort that out at some point too. I've done it again, wrong side of the road. Too busy chatting away. There we go. So I also got sent a list of equipment. I follow Kaleb on Instagram and Kaleb Cooper Contracting on Instagram. So he said on there to go on number 7, it says there, follow my KCC Instagram page and study all the bits of equipment I have and build my way to it. So when I said about doing the baling, and there's a round baler at Court Farm, and Kaleb said he wanted to do square bales, which no problem doing square bales. So one of the pieces of equipment they do have, they've got a case of Puma 240, but they have leased. So we've got a New Holland high density baler. So we're going to be square baling. I'm going to get that done, get those off the field. Then we're going to grab the plough, which I think... Do I remember seeing a plough? Yes. They've got a plough, and we've got some ploughing to do. So we're going to plough both of the fields. Obviously, we're not going to get all that done in this episode, but... Oh, it's little things on here like this. That's the little bus stop sign. So we're on Wolvers Hill Lane. When you go over the brow of the hill and down towards the store is at Wolvers Hill. That's the little place. And then if you go this way down Wolvers Hill Lane, it takes you down into Banwell itself. That's where we are. I think I've got this set on 220s, I think. I'm always trying to work out how that, because there's bale sizes that are sort of written down. You go online and look at bale sizes and they don't seem to match up with always with the in-game stuff, but it's all good. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. So as far as all this goes, and this is a whole nother deep dive into things that I hadn't really considered and hadn't really thought about, and when I was saying about I'm just contracting, I don't have a farm, I'm not even really intending to aim towards a farm on this one. I'm just going to do contract work. We're working for other people, and I'll earn some money. I'm earning some money for them. But I was sent a message by Sam. Thank you so much, Sam. It was absolutely fantastic to get your message, because actually I probably should have gone down that lane again. It would have made a lot more sense than trying to turn here with that baler. There we go, we are in. So what we do need to do is, I'm trying to do a little bit more in cab. It's difficult to know. I'll know in a minute, because that should have opened the back of the baler. If I turn it on now, we're on. Lower the pickup. We should, as long as I stay right in the middle, look bottom right, we're picking up straw, we're baling people. Because it's a square baler, this will just automatically unload out the end. I haven't got to worry about unloading bales manually or anything like that. So anyway, yeah, Sam messaged me and sent me a link to a Farmers Weekly article. And actually, I don't. This is what I always say. I do like, much as it is far more immersive being inside. I like seeing the machinery and equipment running. You know, that kind of drone shot. I know if you're farming in real life, unless you throw a drone up and you've got it behind you the whole time and you're watching a drone screen, as a farmer you don't get to watch your own equipment. I know, because you know it's like any job, isn't it? It's like because it's your job. Whereas we're sort of nerdy fans of farming. I say that for myself. I'm not saying anyone else is nerdy, but and that excitement and passion, and you know when you stop somewhere and take photographs of farm machinery and people are watching, like, what are you doing? It's just a tractor, you know. So for farmers and stuff, it's their job. It's their work vehicles. It's what they use. You know, like I said, when I was going around to hospital when I had a problem with my leg, and they had that fantastic telehandler around there, and I was just watching them using the telehandler. And I just kept watching this guy thinking, you've got the best job in the world, mate. You're running a telehandler all day. How cool is that? But for him, it's just a piece of equipment. It's what he uses for work. It's not necessarily exciting, you know. So yeah, anyway, that's just a long way of me saying I like seeing the machinery and equipment from outside. It is more immersive being in cab, but I do like this. It is cool. These are actually, maybe I should have gone for the smaller bale size. We're not going to get a huge amount of bales off here, but we will get the bales off here. This is nice. Any bits I miss, I will tidy up, I always do. You know me, I can't leave stuff behind. No straw left behind, I will come back for you. Anyway, yeah, so I was talking about Sam, wasn't I? This is what I mean. This is me being me, isn't it? Whittering on and talking about stuff and forgetting what I was saying and coming back to it, maybe at some point coming back around to what I was talking about. So yeah, he sent me this link on a Farmers Weekly article, and it was about the NAAC, the National Association of Agricultural Contractors. And it's the contracting prices guide for 2023, and they have a document, and it's you know, suggested average prices across the board for 2023 for every job you can think. I say every job, yeah, pretty much every job you can think of. As a contractor, what you can do for farmers and on farms per hectare and per acre. So you can do it either way around, whichever way you want to look at it. What you charge for your jobs, what it is you should be paid, you know, and whether or not that then becomes a bartering, haggling process with the farmer, I don't know. Like I say, that I'm the whole contracting side of things, and the deep dive into it that we're doing is more than I've ever really thought of or looked at before. I just kind of go with the in-game economics, and if I take the bales off the field and I go and sell them, I make money on it. If I keep the bales and use them for bedding, that's a point actually. Maybe I need to talk to Kaleb, because I'm just thinking if we're going to do cows, I don't necessarily need, because we can feed the cows with silage, but we're going to need bedding, aren't we? Whether or not we should keep some of these. What I'll do is I'll bale them, get them off the field. We might even have to put them in a barn just in case it rains, in case the weather turns. But maybe, I know he wants to sell them, but we'll see. Maybe I can. I'll talk to the boss. We'll see where we go with that. Yeah, so it's a guide. So I've downloaded it. So the other thing to look at as well, which again it's there and people talk about it every now and again. I get messages about it, and I don't really. You don't have to worry too much. I don't pay much attention to it. But if we go into here and we go to our precision farming, and we don't have to go to precision farming. If you've got precision farming on, we can do it from here. If I click on the field, top left, it will tell me field 56, 1.47 hectares. If I go into precision farming, it tells me already. If I click on the field, it tells me there as well. So whichever way around. So 1.47 hectares of field 56, which we're doing harvesting and now baling on. Field 54, which is for grass work, 2.77, and field 57, which we're going to be ploughing, is 4.53 hectares. So I've made a little note of those fields, made a note of the hectares, then done the conversion to acres. So we can work out using that price guide what a contractor would charge for those particular jobs per hectare or acre on these fields. You know, I'm not going, you know, I've said this with precision farming before, if you want to go really down the rabbit hole and examine all the facts and figures, all the detail, because all the information's there, you know, which in real life you would do, you know, you're going to be looking at your price per acre, per hectare, especially if you're running your own farm with your own fields, what it's costing you each year for fuel, for your ploughing, for your cultivating, for your again, seeding, planting or drilling, depends how you refer to it wherever you are. Sowing, or you know, whatever it might be, however you refer to it, all your cost inputs come in, and then you've got to work out your, you know, your output at the end, what's your yield, and that's how you're working out whether you've made a profit or not. It's not just at the end of the year when you go and sell all that wheat or whatever you've got and say, oh yeah, we made X amount. You've got to then, it has to have been factored in that you spent X amount on each of those fields, and that's why you've got your yield monitors and your yielding per acre, per hectare, working out, you know, all of the nitty-gritty of farming, all the stuff that you can with a bit with precision farming, you can really go into it in a bit more detail, and you can look at it and say to yourself, okay, I really want to analyse this, I want to really go for it. But again, as I always say, you really don't have to. If you just want to come on and have fun farming, then come on and have fun farming. Play your way. That's the thing. The little errant bits here and there will drive me up the wall, so I will get them. Like I said, we're not going to get a huge amount of barrels off here, but whatever we get, we will get. So anyway, yeah, that's all what's going on. So a massive thank you to Sam. I've got that downloaded so I can access that whenever I want to. So I could, if I want to go kind of really realistic on this, we could work out what we would charge Court Farm. I might have to make some amendments to that, because obviously at the moment we're using KCC's equipment, but when we were doing the actual harvesting we were using Court Farm's harvester. So if I was bringing my own harvesters that could do contract work, I would charge one thing. But obviously if I'm using their harvester but I'm still doing the work, I wouldn't charge them as much, because, or I couldn't charge them as much because I wouldn't charge them for the use of a harvester because I've used theirs. So there's a whole load of stuff. I honestly, at the moment, I don't know how I'm going to work it all out. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't, you know, but I'm loving that side of it. Can you tell? Kaleb said to me on the phone, he said, I can tell you're really enjoying it. And I am. And people, I mean, I don't know how the views will go. If it's anything like normal, people will look at the thumbnail and go, oh, he's Baling again. I'm not going to watch that. And that's fine, you don't have to. But at the end of the day, this is farming. And if I do the other stuff, you always get the other people that go, oh, this is ridiculous, you're just doing all the stupid stuff. This has just become you moving pallets around all the time. It's just pallet moving. What's the point? So as we've all, you know, can't please everyone. So we'll see. I'm hoping people are going to enjoy it, and it's being well received. It seems to have. The first episode, people seem to have liked it, which is great. That's all I can ask. Okay, baling's done. We didn't quite get enough for another full bale, but that's alright. Fold that up. I'm going to grab the telehandler straight away. We're going to get the bales off the field, and then hopefully before we finish, depends how long I take doing that, whether I carry on chatting, we'll try and get the plough on the field, and at least get started on the ploughing, because we need to get that done. Again, I'm not too sure how they tackle it. I suppose the difficulty is here in the UK. Well, I don't know. A lot of farmers will have a rock box, and they'll go along, and you know, if you get some big rocks and stuff, will pop up, and you sling them in a rock box and get rid of them. But I don't know whether to leave field stones on or not. So when we do the ploughing, but then that means we've then got to get unless we just roll them back in. I'm just thinking we might go a bit more immersive in the fact we'll plough, but then we will cultivate or we'll roll or do something to get a smoother seed bed before we do sowing, drilling. Sorry, you know, again, like I say, it depends how you refer to it. He did say as well they've got I say just, I mean, they've just bought it. They've got a JCB telehandler. It was one thing Jeremy Clarkson said. It's one thing you realise you use so much. So I think they bought. I think they've got a JCB. But this is one that was on the farm, so we use this. We might get to use the JCB at some point. Like I say, we'll get sent little care packages every now and again, and those care packages we will use, as we are in this episode. I don't own them; they don't belong to me, and we may use them and they may disappear, and we may get something else next time. It all depends what we get sent and what we get use of. Like I say, I will utilise what farmers have got. So if we're doing contract work for other farms and other farmers, fine. Court farm, we might use what's here, or we might get sent stuff by Kaleb. That's terrible. I know I've said this before, and I will say it again, but when I did my tractor driving experience, and that was a few years ago now, and I did the tractor driving, did a bit of ploughing, did reversing a trailer, all that kind of stuff. But when I did the bale stacking, little JCB telehandler, I absolutely loved that. I could have spent just all day just stacking bales, moving bales, stacking. It was brilliant. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Like I said, it's my dream. Not my dream job, stacking bales, but you know what I mean. All that kind of stuff. I just think it's brilliant. I love it. Without an extension on this, I don't know if I should have gone 3 high, but we'll see, because the bars really should only support a couple, but as long as I'm careful, we'll take our time, tilt it back a little bit, not too far. Like I say, we'll stick them up in that concrete, I assume what used to be silage clamp. But this track's going to it. Let's say you watch the bales disappear now. That's the last thing I need. I'll push this right to the back because that's not really liking that very much, is it? There we go. Pop that down. No, come on. There we go. I say we haven't got many, which makes this part of the operation a bit more rapid. I think we'll leave this, yeah, we'll plough, we'll leave the stones to come up. Assuming I've got field stones on, I can't remember now. I was considering turning seasons off, because when Kaleb messaged me and said the farm wants to do canola next, I suddenly thought, well, what if we're not in the planting window for canola? What am I going to do? But as it's transpired, if we go to here and we look across, we're in August now, and if you go down 3, or the third one down, canola, we are in the planting season right now, and that runs through August, September and October. So when we move another day ahead, we'll be into September. That's when we'll switch to 3-day months, I think, because in the first month it won't change until we switch months. So we are in the planting window, so we can get some in, which is great, which is exactly what we need to do. We need to get these bales off, we need to get the field prep work done, and we need to get canola in the ground. Then we can turn our attention to some other contract work for other farmers. But am I going to show every step of this? I might, you know, like I said, I might stick to 2 barrels this time. Yeah, I can do 3 on the last one maybe. Oh, I've missed a bit. Still would have been enough for a full barrel, but that's alright. Because if I'm going to add in those extra steps, but I feel like it needs to be done, it is, you know, like I say, we will plough, but I'm not going to seed directly into a ploughed field. I want to go down do those extra steps that we don't always do, you know. I know some people say, oh, I always do, and that's great if you normally do. And like I say, it's that thing of, you don't have to do it. The game will allow you to plant directly onto a ploughed field. And if you're direct drilling, actually, we don't need to mulch. If we're going to plough, we're not going to mulch it as well, are we? No. You can mulch the field, and I can direct drill straight into this. I mean, I don't have to mulch. I could direct drill straight into this if I wanted to. If you've got a seeder, sower, planter that will do it. So again, it just comes down to the level of, you know, how immersed in it all do you want to be, how realistic do you want it to be. And I will say it again, because people say, oh, you're not playing realistically. I don't always play realistically. I don't, you know, I try to be realistic-ish. That's the best way I can put it, realistic-ish. Especially when I'm doing something like this. Some of my Let's Plays, no, of course not. You know, Frontier, it's not realistic at all. Of course it's not. I try and do the farming bits realistic, but all the other bits and bobs, and especially when you're doing a storyline, you're making stuff up as you know, as you go along, you're making up what you're doing, characters and companies and that kind of stuff. But this is, you know, I think because this is the same as when I used to do subscriber contracts. Remember subscriber contracts? I haven't done that any one of those series for a while. It does get a little bit complicated. It's very, very tricky to do, and I've said it before, it's a lot harder to do now with the way Seasons is on FS22, because if people ask for stuff and then they'll give you 2 episodes and then say, well, you haven't done my job yet, because with Seasons there's only certain things you can do at certain times, and it's difficult. If someone asks for a particular crop, at least on the previous version of the game, on FS19 and 17 and whatever, because you could just bounce through your, you know, and it was a lot quicker to do harvest as well. You could plant something in the ground and a day later the crop would be ready to harvest, you know. Even with Seasons turned off on FS22, it still takes however long for the crop to grow. It still takes months. It just means you don't have to stick to that planting and harvesting cycle, or I say not cycle, plan. You don't have to follow the plan for it, but it still takes months. And I think because I'm doing this on behalf of a real person, not just in my head, or you know, someone I've made up, or I'm just using a subscriber's name or something like that. This is a real person, you know. So I want to get it right, I suppose. I don't know. I'm adding extra pressure. Why not? Right. Bales off the field. Not many, but we got some. Put that away. We'll grab the Puma. I'm going to stick this way because I'm going to leave the forks on once I've dug them into the side of the shed. To that. Oh, boom. Job done. Right, ploughing. And this is, you know, apart from the tiny little bit, it's been fairly real time. I've got the last little bit, the harvesting coming off the field. We've got the baling done, bales off the field, and now we're going to get some ploughing done. 3 jobs, 1 episode. Hey, come on. Where else do you get content like that? Where was the plough? Again, I thought it was sat there in the shed. Oh no, I remember now. It's in the other shed. Did I leave the baler in front of the doorway? Kind of. Will I get the puma in that gap? Maybe. It's in here, isn't it? There it is, over the back. I should really have a front weight on this. Is there enough transportation position? There we go. Remember, and this was what like I said before, when I did my tractor driving thing, Rob said to me when I was going through the gateways, he said to me, well, you need to go through this gateway, then turn left. And as we were going through, he said, just remember you've got the plough on the back. Don't go through the gate and suddenly turn, because that plough will swing out behind you and you'll take out the gate posts. And it's little things, you know, the way you do certain things has to change. There we go, that's a bit better. I mean, it's not a massive weight, but it'll work. Give myself plenty of room for that plough. Right, so unfold that. Now, because I'm going to be going left side first, I want that front furrow on the edge. I mean, if I was going around the other way around the field, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. I'll rotate it and we'll do it this way first. Now, this is the other thing as well. I suppose technically what I should be doing... No, I should have done it the other way around. I should be going up and down the field, and then, because this is something I don't do either, and then put the headlands in afterwards. Is that right? I'm trying to think. No, I'm going to do it the other way. Yep, I've got field stones on. Just suddenly realised. Oh no! Run away! Now, when I've said about doing this before, if you are doing in-cab stuff, I'll find the line, so I know now that my front furrow is on the field and I'm ploughing fine. So what I'll do is go in-cab and I'll look ahead of me or to the side and say, okay, where is the position of my tractor in relation to how it's ploughing or cultivating or whatever I'm doing, and I will pick a point. Now, as it turns out, the little stud in the middle of the bonnet, which gives you your centre line, I'm just left of centre. So if I keep that pretty much lined up, I know that I should be ploughing and I shouldn't be missing anything to my right hand side. In my head, there's a little bit there to the side. I might go over a little bit just to make sure I get it. If I miss any, again, I can come back and I can get them. It's not a problem at all. So when I get to here, there we go, because I haven't got the turning room, I'll raise it, swing myself around, rotate the plough. If I've got this right, plough's rotated. And again, the advice I got from Rob, never put the plough in the ground, then drive forward. You should be driving forward, then lower it, and it will go into the ground smoother. Again, I don't know how much truth there is to that. So what we've got now is that lead furrow will be lined up with the one I've already done. So what I should do now is drive forward, drop that down, and away we go. I managed to go over a little bit, I'm just looking at that. Back in cab, swing that round and get my nose about there. Then hopefully, if I've got that just about right, I shouldn't miss anything. Doesn't have to go back out and check every now and again. Everything seems to be alright actually. That's pretty much spot on. Obviously if you're doing seeding, sowing, planting, and you've got your ridge markers, you can use ridge markers, but obviously you don't have ridge markers when you're ploughing. And I should be going in long straight rows, I shouldn't be doing curves. That's the other thing as well, you know, if you're going to go ultra realistic on it. Close it up, looking in my mirrors, rotate it, I can see there it's rotating over. You know what I'm like for doing jobs that I can spend hours, audio book, music, whatever, bang, and just crack on. So for something like this, I'm already all over it. This is, you know, I'm back to just doing this. And I have to say, I want to thank Kaleb massively. I know people, there were some people in the first, I got some comments, you know, about me name dropping. No, it's alright for people like you that know. People like me, I'm a normal person. I'm just me, you know. Yes, I've just got over 100,000 subscribers. I'm not by any means a massive channel. But then compared to, and again, I don't forget where I came from. I had a guy message me the other day and say I'm struggling to get to 100. And I said, you know, it will happen. It can be a real slow burn. It was for me. I've been doing this 6-7 years now. It's taken a long time to get to this point. It hasn't been instant success. I haven't, you know, done that. My channel's suddenly blown up and I've gone from, you know, 10 subscribers to 1 million in 3 weeks. It's just, that's not how it's happened. Rotate the plough. This is where you see when you go back the other way if you did miss a bit. Suddenly go, oh no, there's a gap. But I want to thank him because, like I said in that first episode, and I put the message up and he asked if I was going to do a Let's Play on him. What did I think of the map? And I said I wasn't intending on it, and he said you should, and if you do, I'll watch. And you know, I could tell people that he'll be watching and keeping an eye on me, and that's kind of where we've gone with it. This is good for the soul. I honestly feel. Oh yeah, percentage. We haven't done percentage today, have we? I reckon today I'm at a 90%. I'm not fully at 100 because I know there's other bits and bobs I've got to do. There's some things I'm not putting off. There's all the man cave stuff I've got to do, and it's that thing of if I don't, you have to say to yourself, I've got to get up and I've got to go and do something, because I will sit at my desk and I will work all day. I will do this. I will make another video. I'll prep stuff for another video. I'll, you know, and then you find the whole day's gone by, and apart from getting up a few times, you haven't really moved. You haven't really done anything. But because of how things were and how I was feeling, and Kaleb, me doing this, and like me saying I'm loving it, and this just feels real. It feels proper, you know. Thank you, Kaleb. It's made a massive difference to. Did I rotate the plough? Oh, did you? It's made a massive difference to me mentally, how I'm feeling and what I'm doing, and I'm feeling like, not that I wasn't enjoying Frontier. I think Frontier is amazing. It's a fantastic map, and I've been loving doing it. But I feel like I've got my mojo back doing this, my flow, what I do and what I enjoy doing, the doing jobs and chatting about stuff. You know, that's what I like. But anyway, I'm just thinking now time-wise. I'm probably up time-wise at Gamgee. I'm probably up there somewhere. So for this episode at least, I'm glad I'm doing this and leaving the ends, and then we'll do those when we finish. I should go straight up and down. Or I'm looking at the way the furrows are going on the ground. They're not actually following what I'm doing, are they? They're gone that way. So what I might do now is straighten these up. If I do one line following that straight across the field, let's flip the plough, and then sort of join them all up, join the dots, so to speak. So if I look at the direction of travel, which at the moment is this way, and if I stick to that now, that's more in keeping with the way the furrows are laying on the ground as the map is allowing, you know, does that make sense? And I'll fill in the gaps around it. as we go. I've gone off a little bit of an angle, but that's alright. So anyway, yes, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're still enjoying it. I've got more ploughing to do, and then I'm going to do seed prep. This field's going to have canola in it. I don't know if, I think we might, if it, because that's been cultivated but nothing's in it, we might, I need to check with Kaleb to find out if we're going to put canola in both. I don't know at the moment. If that's something that we need to be doing at the farm, then we'll put canola in both. I'll do whatever. Like I say, I'm a contractor. I'll do what I'm told. You know, I'll go where I'm told, do what I'm told, plough what I'm told. You know, the nature. Actually, I can say where it was. So I'm coming back down that way. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.